Hello viewers, welcome to Newsweek South Asia, a show where we will provide you fresh insights into South Asia's geopolitical, strategic and security situation. Let's take a look at the headlines first. US Supreme Court approves extradition of 2611 conspirator Tahavur Rana to India. UK Parliament event highlights human rights violations in Sindh and Balochistan. And Afghan refugees in Pakistan left in limbo as US visa hopes fade. The wheels of justice are in motion as the US Supreme Court approves the extradition of Tahavur Hussain Rana, a Pakistani origin Canadian national, to India. Rana stands accused of facilitating the 2008 Mumbai terror attacks, a tragic episode that claimed 166 lives, including 6 Americans, and remains one of the deadliest terror strikes in modern history. This extradition represents a pivotal moment in India's quest for justice and highlights global efforts to combat state-sponsored terrorism.
The US Supreme Court's decision to greenlight Tahavur Hussain Rana's extradition concludes the long-standing legal battle. Rana's involvement in the Mumbai attacks is linked to his close ties with David Coleman Headley, also known as Daud Gilani, a Pakistani American and a central figure in the conspiracy. Headley, a Lashkar-e-Taiba operative, conducted reconnaissance of Mumbai's key attack sites, including the Taj Mahal Palace Hotel, Chhatrapati Shivaji Terminus, and Nariman House. Rana, a former Pakistani military doctor turned businessman, provided logistical support to Headley through his immigration business. This assistance enabled Headley's repeated trips to India under the pretext of establishing a business, facilitating reconnaissance for the attacks. India's formal extradition request for Rana was initiated in December 2019 via a diplomatic note to the US government. The Biden administration endorsed India's request, citing the gravity of Rana's crimes and the strong legal basis under the India-US extradition treaty. Once extradited, Rana will face trial under multiple sections of the Indian Penal Code, including charges of criminal conspiracy, waging war against the government of India, murder and forgery.
Indeed, it's a great success for India because finally the Supreme Court of America has dismissed the review petition of Tahavur Rana. I say it's a success for India because Tahavur Rana and David Headley are the close links behind the terror attack of the 26th November. By extraditing Tahavur Rana, India will get also the more information and evidence in respect of the involvement of some of the Pakistani people, including the Pakistan security apparatus. I must say that David Headley has given such revelation and evidence in Mumbai court, also produced the email correspondence showing the links between Lashkar-e-Taiba and Pakistan ISI army officers. So I am very optimistic that Tahavur Rana extradition will give more evidence about the involvement of some of the security apparatus of Pakistan.
The 2611 attacks carried out by 10 heavily armed LET terrorists over a 60-hour siege targeted iconic locations in Mumbai, resulting in mass casualties and global outrage. Alongside the 166 fatalities, hundreds were injured, leaving psychological scars that persist to this day. Rana's extradition is not only a legal milestone but also a diplomatic triumph for India, emphasizing the international community's commitment to holding state-sponsored terror networks accountable.
It's a huge diplomatic success for India that the mastermind of 2008, Rana, is now being extradited to India. Earlier, the US courts had said India can interrogate him in the presence of FBI only in America, where no pressure was put on him or was allowed to be put on him. Whatever he wanted to answer, he answered, and whatever he didn't want to answer, he did not answer. India insisted that he ought to be extradited to India for obvious reasons, as he had done reconnaissance on behalf of Pakistan more than 6 times and had recceived all the sites where the terrorist action took place, also took photographs of those and assisted Pakistan in a very major way. What was the exact role played by him and the others will be known to us only once he comes here.
Lashkar-e-Taiba, the group behind the Mumbai attacks, continues to operate from Pakistan with alleged state backing, according to global security analysts. India has repeatedly criticized Pakistan for failing to act against LET and its founder, Hafiz Saeed, who remains free despite international sanctions and bounties on his head. Pakistan's unwillingness to crack down on such groups has turned it into a hub for terrorism, jeopardizing regional stability and global security. Rana's role in enabling the attacks places him among India's most wanted individuals in its fight against terrorism.
The Asian Human Rights Forum, in partnership with the World Sindhi Congress and Baloch Human Rights Council, hosted a significant event at London's House of Commons. British MP Bob Blackman facilitated the gathering, highlighted severe human rights violations in Sindh and Balochistan. Executive Director of Asian Human Rights Forum, Arif Azakia, stressed the platform's importance in amplifying marginalized voices. Participants condemned Pakistani media for suppressing reports, urging global attention to the ongoing crisis in these resource-rich yet underdeveloped regions.
The Asian Human Rights Forum, in collaboration with the World Sindhi Congress and the Baloch Human Rights Council, organized an event at the House of Commons in London to raise severe human rights violations in Sindh and Balochistan provinces of Pakistan. The event, hosted by British MP Bob Blackman, drew a significant gathering of community members and many human rights activists.
Blackman was very kind and he booked committee room number 8 in House of Commons, British Parliament, and we held a conference there today, 29 January at 2 p.m. Baloch Human Rights Council and World Sindh Congress delegation also came there and they presented the cases of Sindh and Balochistan. Bob Blackman, in his opening statement, he said that Pakistan is recipient of British aid in huge amount, and I'm afraid that these funds are used against the people of Pakistan, and it worries me that Pakistan is committing such gross violations of human rights.
Human rights activist Arif Azakia emphasized the platform's importance for Sindh and Balochistan's oppressed voices.
And World Sindh Congress organizer for Europe and UK, Dr. Hidayatullah Bhutto, in his statement spoke very nicely about Sindh's problems. He highlighted the case of land grabbing by Pakistan Army on the name of corporate farming. Pakistan Army is grabbing Sindh's agriculture land. Dr. Hidayat Bhutto brought many facts and figures on this topic. Then Dr. Khurshid Karim from Baloch Human Rights Council presented Baloch case, and he explained that how natural resources of Balochistan are exploited by Pakistan Army for their benefit, and Baloch people are not getting anything. There are no medical facilities, there are no education, there is no safe drinking water.
Activists also allege Pakistani media of suppressing reports on Sindh and Balochistan's human rights crisis, shielding the state and forcing them to seek global awareness. Human rights violations in Sindh and Balochistan Two of Pakistan's most resource-rich yet underdeveloped provinces have been a subject of growing international concern. Both regions have faced systematic oppression with reports of forced land seizures, environmental degradation and the exploitation of natural resources by the Pakistani military. The people of these provinces suffer from severe deprivation, including lack of access to basic necessities such as healthcare, education, and clean drinking water. Additionally, the suppression of local media and the silencing of dissent have made it difficult for these issues to be addressed within Pakistan itself. The international community, through organizations like the Asian Human Rights Forum, the World Sindhi Congress, and the Baloch Human Rights Council, has increasingly taken up the cause of raising awareness about these human rights abuses.
Afghan refugees in Pakistan who had pinned their hopes on resettlement in the US are now facing a harsh reality. A new policy under American President Donald Trump has brought visa processing to a halt, leaving thousands in limbo. For many, Pakistan was just a temporary stop on their journey to safety, but now their future is more uncertain than ever.
On the outskirts of Islamabad, Pakistan's capital, a small English academy for Afghan refugees has become a lifeline for many. But hope turned to despair this week as news broke that the US government would halt visa processing for refugees under President Donald Trump's new policy.
So most of these students, the only thing that they can do here is just getting prepared for America. And one of the main things to do right now is to learn English, because they will go there, they have the hope to go to schools or universities or to get a good job. And without English, it's impossible. So most of them want to learn English and has put their English as like their priority.
The academy serves around 300 Afghan refugees, offering one of the few opportunities for education for the community in a country where they are unable to legally work or formally study. Hasibullah, a 20-year-old teacher at the academy, said his students, normally vibrant and engaged, were visibly distressed after hearing the news.
The day that we heard this news, when I came here and when I went to the classes, like almost 99% of the students that were old enough to be able to think for themselves, they were sad and they looked depressed, and it is your right to be depressed and they have to be depressed. The day that we left Afghanistan, the USCIS had sent us an email that you should leave Afghanistan as soon as possible. In any way, you can do it illegally or legally, it doesn't matter, but you should get to a third country, and we will process your case and you will be soon in America. But we have been living here for 3 years with a hope of going to America or whatever to be safe. But now, just when the President Donald Trump came on the media and told us that no, we will not process this case, or maybe we will delay it, indeed you will feel like betrayed.
Nearly 1,660 Afghans cleared by the US government to resettle in the US, including family members of active duty US military personnel, are having their flights cancelled under the orders suspending US refugee programs. For many, Pakistan was the only viable option for the visa process. However, they now face an uncertain future in a country grappling with its own economic and security challenges.
It's really disappointing because I'm waiting for the last 3 years here in Islamabad to be resettled in US, and these last 3 years I'm staying on visa in Pakistan. You can see how hard it is to get the Pakistani visa, and it's about 3 years. My passport was fined 2 times for staying here. Currently I'm trying to handle this trauma because this was going to my future, my new journey, and I was waiting for this. I have spent a lot of time on this, but currently I don't have any idea or any alternative, and I'm hoping for the best.
The US is home to over 200,000 Afghans who arrived as refugees, according to Sean Van Driver, a military veteran and the president of Afghan EVAC, a non-profit that helps people from Afghanistan resettle in America. Around the world, over 40,000 Afghans are still actively pursuing resettlement in the US, with more than 10,000 approved to relocate by the US government. Many of those affected by the pause on the US refugee admissions program are Afghan lawyers and judges who put Taliban fighters behind bars, as well as members of the Afghan military who trained and fought alongside American troops. The families of about 200 active duty US service members are also being impacted. Ahmadzai, like many others, had hoped for a fresh start in the US, but is now left grappling with the emotional and logistical toll of the delay. The US Embassy and State Department have yet to comment on the decision's impact on the Afghans in Pakistan. For refugees like Hasibullah, who have worked closely with the US during their time in Afghanistan, the message is simple. For now, these refugees remain stuck in limbo, their dreams of safety and stability hanging in the balance.
The situation in Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir and Gilgit-Baltistan is worsening due to ongoing administrative failures. In POJK, parents and students are protesting the severe shortage of teachers at a school in Olran village, where children's education is being severely disrupted due to a vacant teaching position. Meanwhile, in POGB, residents of Gilgit city are still waiting for a completed water supply project, leaving many without reliable access to clean water. The growing frustration in both regions highlights the ongoing administrative failures that are affecting the daily lives of residents. In Pakistan-occupied Jammu and Kashmir, parents and students from the government boys primary school in Olran village, Jhelum Valley district, staged a protest outside the Deputy Commissioner's office in Hatia Bala town. They demanded the immediate appointment of a teacher, a position vacant for over 2 months. The absence of staff has disrupted children's education, and despite repeated assurances, authorities have failed to resolve the issue.
NTS टेस्ट हुए थे, जिनमें से वहाँ का मुकामी बंदा अमजद लतीफ़ की अपॉइंटमेंट हुई थी और 3 महीने स्कूल में हाजिर होने के बाद उसे महकमा ने अपने साथ दफ्तरी मामूर के लिए अपने साथ अमूर कर लिया मुजफ्फराबाद में। अब उनके मुतबादल कोई टीचर हमें स्कूल में नहीं दिया था और जो दूसरा टीचर स्कूल में मौजूद था उसने 3 क्लासों को पढ़ाना शुरू कर दिया और 3 क्लासों को छुट्टी देकर घर भेज दिया। आज तकरीबन 2 महीने 21 दिन हो गए हैं और हमने कानूनी हर दरवाज़ा खटखटाया, हमें कहीं से भी इंसाफ नहीं मिला।
In Pakistan-occupied Gilgit-Baltistan, locals are frustrated with ongoing infrastructure projects. A 6-month-long sewage project has exposed poor planning and execution, with incomplete chambers and misplaced slabs risking structural damage. Adding to the woes in POGB, the Gilgit Water Project, initiated 7 years ago, remains incomplete. Residents of Gilgit city report that critical infrastructure like the central water tank and main water lines are still under construction, leaving the community without clean and consistent water.
7-8 साल हो गया है, अब तक प्रॉपर तरीके से GDA के अपने जो होना सिस्टम से पानी इशू नहीं हुआ है। मैं एग्जांपल दे रहा हूँ इस नगर कॉलोनी का। मैं एज ए सोशल एक्टिविस्ट यहाँ के ज़िम्मेदार बात कर रहा हूँ कि यहाँ पे अभी तक GDA के अपनी टैंकी के अंदर जो है ना पानी स्टार्ट नहीं किया। जो सामने जो वाला टैंकी है ये वासा का टैंकी है, उसमें अपने GDA के जो लाइन है वहाँ पे पानी मतलब इन किया है। उसके बाद जो मेन पुराना लाइनों से जो है ना अभी पानी इशू है, जिस तरीके से होना चाहिए अभी तक नहीं हुआ है। प्रॉपर प्रेशर से पानी नहीं आ रहा है।
Both POJK and POGB residents are demanding urgent actions to address their grievances. The growing dissatisfaction among residents of these regions underscores the administrative failures and negligence that continue to plague Pakistan-occupied territories. And with that, we come to the end of this edition of Newsweek South Asia. We'll be back next week with more news, views and analysis from the subcontinent. Meanwhile, do keep writing to us at nwsa@anin.com. This is Shivangi Mishra signing off on behalf of the entire production team of Newsweek South Asia. Goodbye and take care.